Hey, ambitious minds out there. We know tons of you are bright young folks, just brimming with talent, looking for those opportunities to really grow and make something of yourselves. And today, we're taking a deep dive into a program that could be that very ticket you're searching for, a brighter future. It's the Saskatchewan International Skilled Worker Program, and more specifically, the Occupation in Demand subcategory. Picture this: working, studying, or even making Saskatchewan your forever home, right in the heart of Canada.
You know, what's really cool about this program is Saskatchewan is actively hunting for skilled workers
Yeah.
like you. They know the value you bring and have designed this program to welcome people with the talent and drive to really contribute to their economy.
So what's the catch? Well, there really isn't one. It's more about knowing the steps and making sure you're a good fit. And that's exactly what this deep dive is all about. It's your personal guide to this program. We'll break down the benefits, the requirements, the application process, all in a way that respects your time and cuts to the chase. And of course, we've got our expert here to kind of help connect the dots and show you the why behind the what.
That's right. We're here to take the mystery out of it and empower you to make those smart decisions about your future.
All right, let's start with the basics. The Saskatchewan Occupation in Demand program is made for skilled workers who don't have a job offer in Saskatchewan yet. Think of it as a way to get your foot in the door. Show off your skills and what you bring to the table to potential employers. But here's the thing. Even with a temporary work permit, you need to make Saskatchewan home. It's about showing you're committed to building a life there.
And that commitment is actually reflected in a recent update to the program. The application fee is now $500, and you'll have to prove you have settlement funds. Saskatchewan wants to see that you're ready to support yourself financially while you're getting your career going there.
Okay, so let's say you're interested. How do you know if you even qualify? Well, Saskatchewan uses a points-based system to see if you're eligible. Think of it like a game where you earn points for different skills and experiences. And to be in the running, you need to hit 60 out of 110 points.
Those points are awarded across 5 key factors: your education and training, skilled work experience, how well you speak the language, age, and connections to Saskatchewan. And here's something to keep in mind. While age is considered, Saskatchewan really puts the focus on skills and experience. So if you're a seasoned pro, that expertise is gold.
And of course, you'll need all those important documents to back it all up. Degrees, transcripts, certificates. The proof is in the pudding, as they say. We'll get into the specifics of those documents a little later, but first, let's unpack each eligibility requirement, starting with education and work experience.
All right, so when it comes to education, Saskatchewan is looking for post-secondary education that's comparable to what you'd get in Canada. That means you'll need a diploma, certificate, or degree that matches the occupation you're aiming for in Saskatchewan. It's all about making sure your skills line up with what the province needs.
Now, for people who went to school outside of Canada, what's that process like?
If you got your education outside of Canada, you'll need an Educational Credential Assessment, ECA for short. Think of it as a translator for your qualifications. It confirms that your international credentials meet Canadian standards.
Got it. But what about folks who focused on vocational training or apprenticeships in high school? Is there a path for them?
Absolutely. Saskatchewan knows how important practical skills are. If you have a trade or you've finished job-specific training in high school, you might qualify for Saskatchewan licensure. And that can open doors to a whole bunch of skilled trades jobs.
So we've covered education. What about work experience? What's the magic number there?
Well, you'll need at least 1 year of full-time paid work experience in a skilled occupation, and that should be within the last 10 years. And that experience should be in a role that fits with Saskatchewan's in-demand occupations. They categorize those jobs using something called tier. You'll want to shoot for a job in categories 0 to 3. Those are considered high-skilled.
Okay, so where can people find this important list of in-demand occupations?
Saskatchewan keeps an updated list online. It's called Occupations in Demand and Express Entry Occupation Requirements. That's your go-to spot to see if your skills are a match for what they're looking for.
So you've got the skills, the experience, but how do you prove you can communicate in your new home? That's where language proficiency comes in.
Exactly. While the minimum language requirement is Canadian Language Benchmark 4, remember, higher scores can really give you an edge. Especially in such a competitive global talent pool, you'll need to show off your English or French skills through an approved test.
Language skills.
Yeah.
Essential. Now let's talk about something that people often overlook, but it's super important. Settlement funds.
Settlement funds are your way of proving to Saskatchewan that you can handle yourself financially while you settle in and find a job. It's all about showing financial stability and that you're ready for this.
So how much do you actually need?
That really depends on how big your family is. Saskatchewan has a sliding scale for that. You can find the exact amount you'll need on their minimum funds required document. It's online. But just keep in mind that you'll need to have this money available for at least 3 months before you even apply. And you need to keep it throughout the entire immigration process.
Okay. What kinds of documents will they accept as proof of funds?
Think about things that are easy to verify and turn into cash.
Yeah.
Bank statements, bonds, GICs, things like property, credit cards, or debentures. They won't cut it.
All right, so we've gone over the eligibility basics, education, work experience, how well you speak the language, and the settlement funds. But how do you actually throw your hat in the ring for this program?
That's where the expression of interest system comes in, or EOI. It's basically your way of saying, hey, Saskatchewan, I'm here, I've got skills, and I'm interested. It's not the official application just yet, but it definitely puts you on their radar.
So it's kind of like raising your hand in a classroom full of eager students.
Exactly. You're showing interest and letting Saskatchewan know you meet the basic requirements. From there, they use a points-based system to rank candidates in this pool of EOIs. And remember those 5 key factors we talked about: education, work experience, language, age, connections to Saskatchewan. They all come back into play here. That's how they determine your ranking in the pool.
Okay, so we've sort of dipped our toes into this EOI pool. But how do you actually make your profile stand out among all those other applicants? Let's break down this points grid and see where you can really make an impression.
Education is a good place to start. Having a master's or a doctoral degree can seriously boost your score, especially if it's in a field that Saskatchewan needs.
So investing in your education can really pay off. But what about those who have, taken a different route? Maybe they've focused on practical experience instead of going for those advanced degrees.
Work experience is just as important. The more years you have of skilled work under your belt, the better. But it's not just about how much experience you have, it's about the quality of that experience. Having specialized skills can give you a real advantage, especially in areas where Saskatchewan is short on qualified professionals.
So it's all about finding that perfect match, where your skills and experience line up with what Saskatchewan needs.
Right. Now, what about language skills? We mentioned that minimum CLB4, but can going above and beyond that help you rank higher in the EOI? Oh, for sure. Imagine you've got 2 candidates with similar education and work experience. The one with higher language scores, like say CLB7 or higher, they're showing that they can communicate better, integrate into the community faster, and really hit the ground running in the workforce. Saskatchewan gets that, and they reward you with extra points for exceeding that minimum.
And don't forget those bonus points for bilingual folks.
Right. Being fluent in both English and French is a huge plus in Canada. And Saskatchewan's no different. It shows you're adaptable, culturally aware, and ready to embrace Canada's diversity.
Okay, let's talk about age. Is this a make it or break it factor,
Mm-hmm.
or is there some leeway?
Well, younger candidates usually do get more points, but it's not a deal breaker for those who are a little older. The points for age gradually go down, but even those in their 40s can still score well if they rock it in other areas.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all system. Now, what about these connections to Saskatchewan? How do you even get points for that?
This factor recognizes the value of having ties to Saskatchewan already. If you have a close relative who's a permanent resident or citizen of Saskatchewan, or if you've worked or studied there before, that can earn you points. It shows you're already familiar with the province and that you're more likely to settle in successfully.
So it's not just what's on your resume, right? It's also about showing that you have a real connection to Saskatchewan.
Exactly. It's about painting a picture of what your future could look like in Saskatchewan and showing them that you're not just looking for any opportunity abroad, you're specifically looking to build a life in this amazing province.
Okay, let's say our listeners have gone through their profiles, they figured out how to max out those points, and they're all set to submit their EOIs. What does that process actually involve?
It's all done online through Saskatchewan's EOI system. They made it pretty user-friendly and straightforward. You create an account, give them your personal info, and lay out your education, work experience, language skills, and any connections you have to Saskatchewan. You'll also have to answer some questions that confirm you're eligible for that occupation in demand subcategory.
And I'm guessing that being honest and accurate is really important throughout this whole thing, right?
Oh, absolutely. Any fibbing or stretching the truth can have serious consequences. You could even be banned from the program. Honesty and transparency are key right from the get-go.
So you hit that submit button. Then what? Is it just a waiting game?
Not quite. Saskatchewan regularly takes a look at that EOI pool. and sends out invitations to apply, or ITAs, based on a bunch of things. They look at your score, your occupation, and what their labor market needs at the time.
So there's no set time frame for getting an invitation.
Right. It can change depending on a few different things.
Patience is a virtue, I guess. But let's say that awesome ITA lands in your inbox. What's the next step on this journey?
That's when the real work starts. You've got to put together your full application. But before we dive into that whole process, let's take a quick break.
Okay, we're back, and we're ready to tackle that final stage of the journey, the full application process. You've got that invitation to apply. That means Saskatchewan sees something in you. Now's your time to shine. Show them why you're the perfect candidate.
Think of it like you're presenting your case. You're convincing Saskatchewan that you're not just qualified on paper, but you're ready to really make a life there.
So what's the first step once you get that ITA?
Celebrate, of course. This is huge. Then get organized. Look over those instructions and that document checklist that came with your ITA. Saskatchewan's given you a roadmap, so follow it carefully.
Checklists and guidelines. Got it. We talked about those supporting documents before. We talked about the same set of documents, just more detailed versions.
You're on the right track. You'll still need those identity documents, education credentials, your work experience records, language test results, and proof of those settlement funds. But now it's about going deeper.
Okay, give us the inside scoop. What makes this application stage different?
For education, instead of just sending in your degree, you'll need official transcripts. Those show Saskatchewan exactly what courses you took and the grades you got. For work experience, think beyond just basic reference letters. You'll need detailed letters that clearly outline your responsibilities, the skills you used, even how many hours you worked every week.
So it's about painting a really clear picture of your professional journey. What about those language tests?
Make sure those test results are still valid and meet that minimum CLB-4. Or higher if your job needs it. Remember, strong language skills are essential for making it in Canada.
Now, we talked a bit about settlement funds earlier. Anything else our listeners should remember when they're proving they're financially ready?
You'll need detailed bank statements that cover at least 3 months before you applied. It's all about transparency, showing Saskatchewan that you have the money ready to support yourself and your family while you're settling in.
Okay, financial readiness, check. What about that settlement plan we mentioned before? Does that come up at this application stage?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Your settlement plan is your chance to show Saskatchewan what you envision for your life there. You should talk about your plans for housing, getting a job, and becoming part of the community. It shows them that you've put real thought into this and that you're excited about building a life in Saskatchewan.
So it's not just about checking boxes, right? It's about showing that you're serious about Saskatchewan. With all these documents, organization must be super important.
Oh, you bet. Saskatchewan wants everything scanned and uploaded as PDFs. And if you have any documents that aren't in English or French, you'll need certified translations. A well-organized application shows that you're serious and that you respect their process.
So our listeners have gathered their documents, triple-checked everything, and they've hit that submit button. Now what?
Now the waiting game begins. The Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program, or SINP, they'll review your application carefully, make sure everything's legit, and assess your whole profile. This can take a few months, so be patient.
Any tips for handling those post-application nerves?
Stay organized, keep copies of everything you send in, and any communication you have with the SINP. And Saskatchewan has an online portal, so you can keep track of how your application is doing.
Okay, stay organized, stay informed. But what if this SINP needs something clarified or they're missing a document?
They'll reach out to you directly, respond quickly, and make sure you cover everything. Clear communication is really important here.
Okay, let's fast forward to the good part. Your application's approved. What happens then?
That's when the real celebration starts. Saskatchewan will send you a nomination certificate. That's a huge step toward living in Canada.
So this provincial nomination, it's like a golden ticket to permanent residency.
Pretty much. It gives your application a major boost when you send it to Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, or IRCC.
All right. Before we wrap things up, any final words of advice for folks getting ready to start this journey?
Go into this process with meticulous attention to detail. And don't lose your optimism. Be thorough. Show off your skills and what you've got to offer. And don't forget to let your excitement for Saskatchewan shine through. They're looking for talented people just like you to help build their communities.
Beautifully said. And with that, we've come to the end of our deep dive into Saskatchewan's International Skilled Worker, Occupation in Demand subcategory. We covered those eligibility requirements, explored that expression of interest system, and broke down that application process. We hope you're feeling informed and ready to take that next step.
And for those who are ready to make those dreams a reality, we encourage you to book a free consultation with Immigration Bridging Academy. Their expert team can give you personalized advice, answer all your questions, and help you figure out if this program is the perfect fit for your goals.
So what are you waiting for? Take that leap of faith and see what Saskatchewan has to offer. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and best of luck on your immigration journey.